All right, we're live. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, it's the first of the first. I'm doing my first live stream on YouTube, courtesy of StreamYard, and we're gonna be talking about politics today. So I'm gonna see how many people come in before I let on the panelists. Okay, yeah, it's very seamless. So this is definitely gonna be a common occurrence. But anyway, I'm gonna give a little bit of monologue. So basically, how I stand politically, I am right of center, meaning that I'm pretty I'm pretty grounded in terms, or I would say I'm well rounded or in the middle, but I do tend to have some more traditional beliefs and stuff like that. So let me see if I can put on some music. I'm gonna just leave the music off. But anyway, a lot of black people really in America, we have more conservative viewpoints, if that makes any sense. So we really we don't believe in a lot of some of the social issues that plague the U.S. like abortion and stuff like that. But that's never here or there. Um, when you look at traditional or fundamental Democrats and Republicans, they're mainly right of center. If you look at it, unlike what people truly call as the lefties or the liberals and stuff like that, those people of today, they're truly on the left. But when you look at the fundamental old school Democrats and Republicans, they are right of center. Of course, the Republicans are more right on the side of the right, but yeah, they when you boil it down, the old school Republicans and Democrats, they more are fundamentalists, in my opinion. So I see the panelists are here, just waiting for some more people to come on, potentially. So I'm going to ask everybody, the panelists, to cam up when we come on. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna see if a few more people can come on in the live chat. I don't have anybody right now, but I'm gonna see if some people are gonna come on before I let you guys on. But yeah, like I'm saying, welcome everybody. We're gonna have a nice little discussion tonight. Hopefully, some of the ground rules for the live chat with the panelists. I expect everybody to be respectful and everything like that, which I don't think that's gonna be an issue. But no over talking, no foul language. Of course, you can use the D word or you can use the H word, but no harsh cussing and stuff like that. Please and thank you. And what we're going to do when the panelists come on, we're going to introduce ourselves and give a general area where we're from and what our political affiliation is. Okay, where's Buka? Hold on one second. Well, it's going on the 4 minute mark. So I'm gonna just let everybody come on. I think we'll have enough time to okay, he's back on. Okay. So I'm gonna add everybody to the stream.
Hey,
All right. Okay, I hear some background. I hear some feedback from somebody. Okay, I don't hear it now, so I'm good. All right, so we're gonna start off with the introduction of everyone. Who wants to go first? So remember, I'm pretty sure you guys heard me, right? I laid down the ground rules and basically the introduction. You'll just be saying who you are. You don't have to give your full government name. Just say your like your first name, political affiliation, and the general area that you're from. All right, who wants to go first?
Sure, I'll go first now. How's everybody
All
doing?
right.
My name is
All
Antonio.
right.
They call me TB. I'm from Washington, D.C. area. You said political affiliation, really just an observer. I really don't participate that much in it.
Hello?
Okay.
All right. So I'm David, and I live in Baltimore County, and I'm a Democrat.
Wait a minute.
My name is Buka Anwar. I live in
Can
Germantown.
you guys hear me? I had to do something real quick. The microphone wasn't working. Hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Jeffrey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You good?
Okay.
Yeah, you good. Can you hear? You can't hear us though, can you?
I can't hear you guys.
Okay.
Hold
All right. So we
on.
just one. All right, and my name is Jeff. Life of Joffrey. Okay, we got one viewer right now. So, yeah, my political affiliation. I am independent, and I live in the Baltimore metropolitan area.
One second. I'm trying to. Can't hear you guys. Put some earphones.
Okay. And let me just reiterate the ground rules. So no over talking anybody. I think everybody in the panel is respectful. I have no doubt of that. But just reiterate that no over talking, no name calling. Try to limit your cuss words and stuff like that because YouTube has changed their policies for the monetization thing. So I don't want to deal with that. So try to keep your cussing at a limit if you're gonna cuss. All right.
Yeah. Earlier you said the D and H words were okay. What are those?
Damn and hell.
Oh, okay. All right.
I didn't want to
enough.
say it the first 15 seconds. So
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
went ahead.
Okay. I was just curious.
All right, Ron. Can you
I guess those will do.
Yeah, you can say damn and hell all you want now.
All right.
All right. Okay, hold on.
Uh-oh.
All right. Ron, he'll be back. So you guys pretty much heard what I was talking about a little bit. I was going to do a little bit more monologuing, but I figured since I didn't have anybody, and okay, he came back. All right, Ron. Let me add him.
There you go. I had some trouble with my audio setup, and I couldn't hear you guys at all for like 10 minutes. So glad I sorted that out. So I can hear you guys now, though. So can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Good to go. Great.
All right. Do your introduction, please, and your political affiliation in the general area that you reside in.
Okay. So wait, me or has everyone else already given their intro?
Yeah, everybody else has.
So, my name is Ronald Payne. I'm from the DMV, so Silver Spring area. And so I lived in there for like majority of my life. And I lean, I guess, left leaning. I would say Democrat. Traditionally, I would say like I'll be not too religious, but a little bit. Well, I don't know if you guys talking about like spiritual and like your religious affiliation, but okay, never mind.
We're not talking about religion this time.
Gotcha. That's the next one.
That's gonna be the next live. Yeah, that's gonna be the next live. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Where I stand, I am. I would say I'm more. I'm Jeff. I did kind of give a little bit of background about me. My channel is Life of Joffrey. I'm definitely not a Republican, but I'm not on the Democratic side now either. So because of some things that I have over the last few years, I've been giving the Democrats the side eye. So I've been a little bit more skeptical and trying to be a little bit more informed instead of just like, voting like blanket like I used to vote. So, let's do a little icebreaker. Well, what do you guys have in your mind for this live? Like, what do you have? What is your expectations?
No clue.
I'm sorry.
I said like
Well,
what?
different perspective for me personally, just to hear from different people. And, I think we all can tend to live in a bubble to a degree, and it's important to and hear from different people. So, yes, that's for me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's break. So let's talk about today in Maryland history. Everybody currently resides in the state of Maryland. So Maryland has made history today. We inaugurated our first Black governor, Wes Moore. So I don't know if you guys support him or not, but that's definitely a milestone for the state, and that's something that we can look at and say, hey, yeah, this is a change or whatever. I know Oprah had attended the event. I didn't even know she had such ties in the state of Maryland, like she did. So she
she got her real quick. I'm sorry, but she got her start here on the local news on WJZ in Baltimore. She's not from here, I don't believe, but she got her start kind of in media here. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, she attended the inauguration and everything like that, and it was really touching. I saw some snippets of it and stuff like that. So that was that. So in today's political climate, like what we have today with the Republicans and Democrats, the majority being controlled by the Democrats, the House, Senate, and stuff like that. What is y'all's opinion? And we'll take turns and stuff. What is y'all's opinion of how the government is being run today, particularly on the federal level?
Who wants to start?
I'll let someone else start, because for me, it's just like it's a really big question to ask. Like, and it's like a lot of stuff.
And there's no right or wrong answers. I mean, it's based on your opinion, your general opinion. Okay, so since I'm the host,
Jeffrey, I started off.
Okay.
So on a federal level, because it's really, in my opinion, it's no one hand that's controlling everything.
Yeah,
and they're giving it off to each sector. So just even knowing how government is set up in civics, like if people don't even know that, at that point, you really don't even know what's going on right now in general. And like the other day, the Vatican, they just went and did a meeting with Microsoft. So it's now they bringing that technology into politics, because politics, they try to separate politics and religion. But now at this point, they're going into business and religion. So now it's like a whole change. This year is like a lot going on. And just as you mentioned, Wes Moore, he's coming into politics, and like you said, it's like a grand entrance, and you didn't know he had as much backing and support. It's like really a historical narrative of the Moors in Maryland. And when you know about Maryland, it's the Virgin Mary and Mary Line, and that's why the district was birthed between the Virgin Mary and Virginia. Mm-hmm. And so bringing that whole historic narrative back into play, that's what's happening right now. And so like on the federal, we can't even expect to see what's coming next, because it's like things are happening so fast. Like right now, we're only 18 days into the year, and this felt like, to me, a month, 2 months worth of news just came out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I brought up the federal level, because I believe tomorrow Congress has to make a decision. Well, by tomorrow, Congress has to make a decision about the debt that we owe and stuff like that, the financial aspects and stuff like that. So it happens every year, every so many years, where we're threatened with like a government shutdown or like the government defaulting on its debt and stuff like that. That's pretty a big deal right now, and that's tomorrow. So like our whole livelihoods and stuff could be turned upside down.
Yeah, just to jump back on that too, like that's the thing too about the civics and just knowing about the history of the government going back to 1933. Mm-hmm. There is no money, so only physical money is gold and silver. So like debt notes printed out, that's numbers on the screen. That's our the total debt of the American people. Like everybody, like an average, owe 80K in debt, and that's understanding the difference between the private and the public side. So, like publicly, when you are out here accepting benefits and privileges, you will owe debt. But if you operate on the private side, it's a whole different story too. Just how they came out Donald Trump about his taxes, like he wasn't paying any taxes. He mixed private and public. He broke one of the rules. Mm-hmm. So he was a president, but he brought his private business information because since he's president, he's a public figure. They didn't want to know what's going on. So willingly, he doesn't have to give it up, but I think they found like a loophole to get something. But really, that's one of the foundation and principles is knowing that too, about how it's no money, like it's all numbers on the screen. You don't see anybody give somebody $100 million in cash. It's like, oh, here you go. That's like in a movie. It's all moving wired. They getting wired, and like I don't know if you've seen today, like Bank of America has Zelle problems with transactions.
Really, I didn't know that.
And like, yeah, so they showing you like the transition. Like I was talking about Microsoft, like this new blockchain technology that's coming out. So that's merging into the political realm too. Like in New York, you know, they got a Bitcoin mayor, Miami. So there's like really that narrative and like the whole money scene because when Congress comes back from their recess, from that 12-week recess coming up soon, and they will come out with more bills for that.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, of course, every level is very important, but I just wanted to talk more so about the federal, at least for that particular question. Okay. Anybody else?
The federal government right now. I mean, I feel like what's his name? Antonio did a good job of explaining. Like it's like a lot of like moving parts, so you can't necessarily say like as a whole you think it's like a good or like a bad decision. It's like I definitely can say which departments of like the government are doing bad, like the police department in certain like parts of like the United States and everything. So it's like there's that. But when it comes to like I guess the federal budget and stuff, it's like I don't really think I'll be able to like give that a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But I think everyone else maybe like how does everyone feel about like the budget stuff and like budgeting and putting the money toward the right things and like. Do you think we could be putting more money toward like just structural stuff or like just or we think we're doing a good job of putting money where it needs to go? I guess when it comes to the treasury. Well, just kind of segue. It's a different question. It's a question.
Well, I was gonna add, you know, I'm being part of the panel as well. I would just say like when you look at some of our spending and stuff, like you look at I hate to use this talking point, but like you look at some of the spending that the money that we gave out to Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're not even part of NATO, and you know, like man, we got all these other issues and stuff going on here, you know, and we look like literally like our livelihoods because of like you know unnecessary debt. Our livelihoods within tomorrow they don't make the right decision. Somebody else make the right decision. We could be like. In another great recession or something like that.
Yeah,
you know,
are we at like $89 billion at this point, or like given, or we like 120 billion? I forget what the number officially was, but I remember seeing this chart where it was like all the money we've given, just billions of dollars every day or whatever.
I can look that up, but I know every time I hear it's like it's in the billions. Letter B.
Yeah.
So.
I'm just waiting for it gets to 2 trillion or whatever. Like when it hits 1 trillion, it's like okay, at that point you got it. Just like call it a day at that point. Like 1 trillion, that's crazy. Like that's a whole budget or whatever. Like, I don't know how the military budget goes, but that's crazy.
Absolutely. Which I know some of y'all's background and some of the stuff y'all do. I'm not going to mention that, of course, but I think Mr. David will be a good person to give his commentary. What do you think?
About what? The spending on Ukraine?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, I get it. Like, you know, we need to take care of what's going on here, but when you see what's going on over there, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, how these people's lives can be turned upside down just like that through no fault of their own. I mean, and some of the stories. So you want to help them out, but there's a lot of money in there's a lot of money in all that defense contracting. So people are, you know, a lot of people are making money off of it too. So Yeah, it's a tough one. I think we should help them out, as best we can. But I can understand people's concern, when prices and everything, the inflation here, and the infrastructure, and the school system. I mean, there are a lot of things we can put money to in this country. So, I can see both sides of it, but I do think we should help them for sure. Because I know, if I was in a country that was attacked, in a smaller nation like that, I would want larger nations to help. So if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a really good perspective.
Yeah, I mean, from a humanitarian standpoint, it is pretty bad what's going on. So,
that's kind of what we are anyway. We're like the world's police, the U.S.
Yeah, then there's that side of it too, because a lot of people get frustrated with that. Like, why is it our job? But we are the superpower. I mean, so but where do you draw the line? Do we have to help everyone all the time? So.
Well, we also help and also do a bad job of the other stuff. But it's a mixture when it comes to to South America. You just look down south of us, we're doing a horrible job.
Yeah,
being we care about everybody except those people. It's very clear that there's favoritism, I guess, when it comes to Ukraine. So I think a lot of people get mad. But
we definitely don't know.
Yeah,
and go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and Trump, I guess it was an example of that. I mean, he did go there for the aid for the earthquake stuff. But did he actually was it followed by actual money, or was it just him going down there as a placeholder?
Oh, when he threw the what was it called?
Yeah,
paper towels.
The paper
in
towel.
Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Beside that fiasco, did the government actually intervene and actually give money to Puerto Rico, or was it just kind of just him going down being a fool?
They did, but there were some issues because the one company down there that got the contract did they got millions and they weren't even prepared. It was almost like an inside job, like one of those deals, So I mean, so there was some dysfunction there for sure. I think they did get some money, but I don't think it went very smoothly. So
it was misappropriated. In other words, misappropriated.
Yes, there was a huge contract awarded to some company, electric company or something, that couldn't even handle the workload.
Yeah,
they wanted the money, but we'll worry about doing the work later.
Yeah.
It
looks like this is going to be a live because it's my first live. It looks like it's going to be a replay live because right now I don't have any other viewers, but it's all good.
Yeah.
For sure. And I just wanted to touch on too. Well, before we get on another topic, what Ron and David was talking about, and even just going back to the whole topic of what is the state of where we are now, just all back to the history too of why we're giving all this money to Ukraine. It's the purpose of the dollar. It's the petrodollar. So it's only good for oil. And as David just mentioned too, it's an energy crisis right now. So Europe is in energy spike. Their bills went up 1,000%. So now, okay, if the dollar's only good for oil, then all the other countries are coming together to make the BRICS. Brazil, Russia, Asia, India, Soviet Union, China. So it's now they're we come together and make our own currency. We don't need the dollar anymore. So that's what's going on right now. So they're since we don't need the dollar, we got to raise this inflation up. So, people holding on to the money too. Oh yeah, we got to get out of their pockets. So now we're going to raise prices up.
Crypto kind of.
And then next thing you know, you're oh, now we're in recession. Now you spend all the money. There's no circulation.
Yeah.
And then now we need support at that point. So it's now it's a turning point. I kind of see it it's a losing power. Who gonna control power next? That's the kind of thing right now is going on. I see.
Yeah, Mr. Buka.
Hey, how are you?
All right, what you got to say?
I think we're doing pretty good, honestly. I think we're doing pretty good. I don't have any complaints when it comes to the government. I think we're doing pretty good. I'm sorry. I just believe in if you're struggling in life and you struggle on one job, go get two jobs. So
Remember our little chat. Yeah.
I think we're doing good. I mean, I don't think the government's stupid. So if we're helping Ukraine, there must be a reason. And if you remember, last 100 years, Russia was one of our biggest issues. So maybe if we're helping Ukraine, we're really just trying to keep that buffer going with Russia. And then, yeah, with the dollar, I know places like Ghana and Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, by the way. I came here and I lived in Birmingham most of my life. But Ghana, Nigeria, and so on, we're starting to take our raw resources like cocoa beans and whatnot. We're starting to do it in-house. That way, we don't have to, I don't want to say we, but that way they don't have to change their raw resources for the lower amount when it comes to transaction to dollar. So potentially, you're right, the dollar may be falling in the future. But as of now, I think we're doing pretty good. I think COVID, the whole COVID to where we are today was pretty smooth, especially with Trump pushing so much money and keeping people afloat. People started $20,000 worth of candle businesses and so on. Yeah, I don't really have too many complaints right now. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's my comment.
Okay, hold on one sec. Okay. So another thing, what do you think about? What do you all think about identity politics? The concept of identity politics, where you does anybody need an explainer of that? Well, I'm gonna explain that for the viewers. My perspective on what identity politics is. So basically, identity politics is basically voting based on a particular demographic. Particularly, like if you belong, say for instance, I belong to a particular demographic. Like I'm African American. I vote party lines because I'm African American. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Because let's say if I was a woman, I will vote for a particular candidate because they're a woman. You know what I mean? That's what I interpret identity politics as. What do you all think about that?
I agree. I think people do that all the time. I think it's a fine decision to do that way. I think we should be careful of people knowing that we vote that way, but at the same time, I think it's pretty fair because regardless of a Democrat or Republican, you wouldn't want so-called our government to break down too hard, regardless if we get a Democratic or Republican president in office. So Democrats or Republicans knowing voting patterns is actually pretty okay to keep stability across the borders and trying to push whatever narrative they want to push for the future of the United States. So I think identity politics is good. I think the problem comes when I believe isn't it the word gerrymandering? When you cut certain borders in cities or states in order to solicit voting from a group of people. For example, in Alabama, Birmingham City is the only Democratic city in Alabama. And my issue with that necessarily isn't the gerrymandering, but then that does go into the school system. So now for you to go to a better school system, you have to transfer, have a good excuse, or pay in high school, amounts of dollars like $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 just to be in another school. That's not any better, but that school has less gang violence or maybe just a little bit better opportunity.
Okay. That's a really good point right there. Yeah, if you can't beat it, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Don't try to fix it. Yeah, but let's see. I want to hear from Mr. David. What you think about that?
About identity politics?
Yeah, like what I was saying.
Yeah, I hear that term thrown around a lot, and I'm still kind of foggy. No, I really do. It's like a thing, and I'm still not quite sure exactly what it means.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless it's like this thing where, okay, I'm a Democrat, so I have to, or a conservative, like I have to vote. At this, like there's no kind of wiggle room. Like you can't. There's no freedom to kind of feel like you have to feel the same way or vote the same way on every policy that's favored by that party, if that makes sense. You can't kind of feel one way about you threw abortion out before. Like maybe I don't feel that way about it, but you just have to suck it up and go with whatever the party line is. That kind of what you mean?
Yeah, something like that, but more so like the word implies identity. So basically, okay, this person is me, so I'm voting for this person because they look like me.
I would describe it as a preference, more so like what do you more feel naturally inclined to do, even though it's not that much like details. Like if you see like two people, what are you more inclined to like go for based off just like who you think that person is? Like initially, I guess maybe perception, maybe, or is that an assumption that doesn't fit? Like if you're like, I guess Mitt Romney versus Barack Obama, I guess most people would be like, they would see Barack Obama first and assume like just because you're black, he's black, automatically you probably would align more so with his views. When it comes to Mitt Romney, you're just like, he probably doesn't care that much about what I care about just based off of like being him. And he looks like somebody is so-and-so, but like how you would assume, but also just kind of make assumptions, I think maybe.
Exactly. Right. And I would also add, it's not even almost always adding assumptions. It's just like some people just, because like the person was like, for instance, because Barack Obama was black, some people even said that I voted for him because he was black.
Yeah. Some people voted just on identity politics.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
A lot of people did. I ain't gonna say like some people did. A lot of people did.
Most of the people did. Yeah. So that's what I mean when I say a bit identity politics. But so yeah, it seems like no one really has a definitive answer. Or I'm not gonna say a definitive answer, but like a something to say whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, or how you feel about it.
Yeah, the first time I even heard that term. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I feel like David. It's a term that's thrown around to get people to talk and discuss something that's an illusion kind of thing. And it's like even going back to what Buku said, it was kind of like a gang. It's like you either get with this side or that side and you stick with it. It doesn't matter what they do, right or wrong. Regardless, whoever you pick, identity politics, regardless, if you're Democrat, Republican, there's two sides to it. Like you just explained, you could be two different people of color or different races, 5 different people that you could choose from, say it, on both sides, all different races, different colors. And then from there, say at the end of the day, they pick one person that's going to run the whole thing after they get chose. It's kind of like the same thing. Like they're all talking together, they're all friends. So really, at the end of the day, it's just like a illusion.
I would say I mean I disagree. I don't think it's like a complete illusion, but I do think it can be an illusion. You know, like I think like a lot of times people get lost in identity politics and they feel like they can trust somebody and that trust is then like abused and like obviously, and they do something completely opposite of what you thought they were going to do, or goes against the general positive effect that you thought was going to happen. And so like I think that identity politics, you have to address them and you have to kind of like it depends on who the person is and like how much influence they give other people for their own identity. It really just depends on who the person is and how they have their own identity. Like if they feel like they need to support so and so because of that identity, then it's a good to follow it, but like you don't necessarily know. So I guess you could say it's still an illusion actually, because you don't know what that person feels about their identity truthfully unless they give like a full account and they tell the truth, but now they don't really know if someone does tell the truth nowadays when it comes to politics. So it's a lot to deal with overall. But
I mean, the first time I heard the term was from ironic, of all people, Steve Bannon, who I can't stand, and I definitely don't identify with. But that's the first time I even heard it, and that was new to me, But he didn't even, I don't recall if he really defined it himself, but it seemed like he was referring more to cultural differences or societal kind of things, more so than even politics.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's more like along those lines,
I got a question for Jeffrey. Do you think that culturally speaking, it's actually, what were you asking? You asking about like, what do you think? What do we think about identity politics, or how do we feel about it?
Yeah, both. Yeah.
I mean, identity has your culture and what you're growing up with and how you feel, and typically you can sometimes have people that agree with you when it comes to identity. So you have a group of people sometimes that you agree with. Not always, though. You do have people that are outside of that identity. So, but generally speaking, would a person feel like their identity is a place of relatability, a place of connection with a politician, and it be legitimate? Is is like the main point. I think like, is the safe thing? Probably not, because then you can kind of like.
I would say with anecdotal evidence, based on my background and how I grew up, I'm a Black person. Everybody in my family, they vote a certain way based on who's running most of the time. Well, I'm not gonna say most of the time, all of the time, especially where I grew up at. People, they didn't really think outside of the box. Not to offend anybody that's in my family or anything like that. But yeah, like I look at the prime example when Barack Obama, not saying that I wouldn't vote for him or whatever, I voted for him, but everybody voted in my family and everyone around me, they voted for him for the fact that he was Black. They didn't even really look at who he was. Like most people didn't even know that he's biracial. He's technically biracial.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that until like later on. Like so dumbfounded, his father, and then people, if you really want to argue, people like having the true first Black president, people say that he's technically not or not a descendant of the slaves type Black or whatever, because his father was from Kenya and then he had a white mother. So I didn't know that. So that's a prime example, and I would say that's one of the best examples that we have out there when it comes to identity politics, the so-called identity politics and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Jeffrey, I want to add in on all of this too. I'm sorry, I just wanted to add this on, like how it was mentioned about like the Moor, like the history of that. That's bringing the whole narrative back again. It's like about just people from Europe, like you said, his family, his mother's from, I believe. What's his mother's from? I think I can't remember. I forgot, but I know. I think it's. I'm not sure, South Africa, or his father was from Jamaica or something like that.
His father was
Nigerian, right?
Hawaii.
No, yeah. So the thing is, so his father was Kenyan.
Kenyan. Sorry, Kenyan.
Yeah.
Okay.
His father was full-blooded Kenyan, and his mother. Let me see. Yeah, because I
can't recall. I
remember his mother's white, but he was raised in Hawaii. Like he was grown up.
Yeah, he was
Hawaii,
raised in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So she was born.
But
she was born in Wichita, Kansas. His mother.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Stanley Ann Dunham.
Yeah. See, that's that whole narrative.
Apologist
coming back and adding that on. It's like it's not even about identity politics anymore. It's a whole new narrative coming on. It's this woke community, like identity. It's now like they're saying that you woke now if you're progressive, like you want to move ahead. Now like all the conservatives coming like, oh no, we're not with that woke stuff. So it's now they're saying like, okay, everybody's woke now. They're aware, so-called aware of what's going on. They want to push ahead, make all these new changes. Like that's the new thing now. So it's like either you woke or non-woke. It's not even what you identify. That's your identification. Pick between woke and non-woke, basically progressive and conservative. It's still the same thing, just a different term.
When it comes to voting with identity politics, that's the labels. Like you either woke or non-woke. When it comes to just I've seen that.
That's kind of what identity. When I think identity politics, it's along, like I said, more like cultural or social lines than even political in a sense, and that's what I think Bannon was referring to. And because he was saying that if the Democrats want to play this, if they want to play this identity politics game, they're going to keep losing and losing. That was his take on it. I mean, again, I'm not a fan of his anyway, but he was he was referring more to like cultural differences between the two parties, I guess, more so than, like I said, even political stuff. So.
So yeah, speaking of that, so this is getting into what I want to ask next, and I want to be aware of everybody's time. We're probably not going to be up here too much longer, but I wanted to talk about we're talking about identity politics and stuff like this and how everything plays, everything kind of is related to one another. But how would you say that, for instance, let's go with what we consider leftists, people that's on the far right and stuff like that. What do y'all consider a lefty, or I'm not sure if you're familiar with that term. So somebody that's a lefty is like somebody that's progressive and that's on the quote unquote woke, or like you think of like back in the 70s, like the hippies and stuff like that. Those people that had the afros and was smoking weed and stuff. Now you have a different sect of them now, where you have the people that are. I guess I'm just, this is not my my belief system or whatever, but like the people, like you got these 20-year-olds living in the basement of their parents. I don't even know some of the little talking points that they say and stuff like that. And then of course the alt-right or the right-leaning people, the conservatives. I think of the people that are like quote unquote traditionalists. They really don't. From what I see, they don't really live up to what they truly talk about or really believe. I think a lot of stuff that they talk about, they don't really truly believe. They just use that for fodder in like a debate or something like that.
The traditionalist liberals?
Yeah, like conservatives. Yeah, people that be considered on the right. And like I was mentioning earlier, before y'all came on, when you look at a fundamentalist, when it comes to being a Democrat or Republican, they are, if you really look at it, they are right of center. They're right of center. And if you really look at it, they're not what you would consider, like even the Democrat, staunch Democrat, a traditional Democrat, you wouldn't consider them someone, based on today's standards, you wouldn't consider them someone that's progressive. Yes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course, Republicans, they're already on the right anyway. So, whatever level there is to that, they're on that side. But what do y'all think about that?
Well, one thing, if real quick here, because you were talking about how what were you saying, something to the effect of the right wing kind of doesn't, so one of you guys was saying that about they don't really live up to what they practice, what they preach, kind of. The thing that here's what I'm saying. What bothers me about some people on the right is this idea, like they love to drape themselves in the flag and talk about freedom and all this stuff until you want to express your freedom in a way they don't agree with. Exactly. And then suddenly it's like, whoa, put the brakes on. And that's what I'm not down with. Either it's a free country or not. And for me, that applies to whoever you want to marry, abortion, all this stuff. Like that's my take on it. If it's truly a free country, then people need to have the freedom, to live their lives the way they want to, as long as they're not hurting other people. So.
Yeah. And then the guy would come in.
I agree with David.
Yeah. Somebody would come in and be like, somebody would come in and take David.
Like lagging out.
I bet. Somebody would say, "Oh, like you mean your right to kill other people?" When it comes to abortion, and it would make this big issue about it. Like they would try to like go against that. But I think like your own body and everything, like it definitely your own body, your choice. It's your own like decision. You can't really like say like you're ordered to keep a kid, like especially with like the crazy stuff in different like southern states and stuff. Just like with like there's conditions by which they have to like get abortions. This is kind of like at least what I hear about. I don't know like typically what it is. But,
yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Oh, go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
Nope.
True beliefs.
True.
So,
I was just gonna say I agree with both of you. Yeah. I agree with both of you. Like you were just saying, like you want your freedom. It goes back to the whole civics thing again. Like even knowing how the government work or how to run your own government. If you don't govern yourself, you're dependent on them. So it's like you really can't be free at that point, because it's like they're giving all the choices. You voting for them to make choices for us. So until we learn, like you just said, we have unlimited contract law. That's part of civics and just knowing about contract law. You have a right to unlimited contracts on the private side. So that's why I got
a question for you. I know David has something to say. Hold your thought, David.
Yeah, sure. So
you were saying something about the Moors. Are you talking about like? Are you referring to like Moor signs? Or are you just talking about a different type of Moor? Like, were you referring to Westmore?
Yeah. So like the history, that's why it's named like that too. So it's like it's a symbol. That's what it is. It's like a narrative playing out.
Okay.
It's like everything related. That's how I feel like synchronicity, string theory, like how that's coming into play. And it's like always related. You like piece it all together.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely do a live on that, talking about later on next month, because it's Black History Month. So I definitely want to talk about that. But yeah, what were you going to say, David?
No, I was just going to say, and I don't want to get too much into, because I know abortion's its own huge topic. And just back to what the one gentleman was saying, is that for me, the whole murder thing, the mother, it couldn't survive without her, basically. So to me, that's why it's not murder. It's subsisting on, she's keeping it alive. And if she decides she doesn't want to, as tragic or as horrible as that may seem to some people, in my opinion, I think she should have that right. But that's just to clarify that real quick, because I've thought about that before and I've heard all the arguments. My family is hardcore Catholic, conservative. I am not. So like I've been round and round with all this stuff with them. So I know it's a tricky one. Trust me, I know. And it's tragic that it ever has to come to that, aside from like medical, where a woman has medical complications and there's no other option. But yeah, and I don't want to, not to try to spark like a whole abortion debate. But anyway, that would be my response to someone that would refer to it as murder. I do disagree with that, so.
Yeah, of course, yeah. What about you, Buka? I see you just observing.
I'm just soaking it all in. I love everything you guys are talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, that abortion topic is real big. I personally don't have any issues when it comes to a girl aborting, because apparently some medical, when it comes to abortion, some medical procedures are classified as abortion. For example, that's outside just removing a baby. Well, see, that's tricky too. But as in, like, let's say the baby is already died, it's stillborn, or there is a real big complication where it's in the uterus here or there, or whatever the case is. Those are still under so-called abortion, and that's because when you talk about abortion, there are 2 points. There's the women or people, men, women, who want that abortion, but then they try to justify that with rare cases of pregnancy complications. And the other one is they really push the abortion narrative. I know you've seen these abortion commercials. The first thing they say is rape, So when it comes to stuff like that, that's when I have to take a step back. Well, not take a step back. One, I approve if it's about a medical procedure that is discarding a baby that's will not be able to survive in order to save a mother. And then the other one, but the one I don't like is when they push a narrative of rape is why we should legalize abortion. I think because this abortion issue, this was not the first time it's been shut down or struck down. 2005, it was pushed, and even then, it was pushed again. So it makes me wonder, why is abortion so important now? Because African Americans have gone to the hospital plenty of times in the 60s. A big part of the civil rights movement wasn't just to sit on the buses. Black women go to the hospital and get their tubes tied without their consent. Those are some of the reasons why we push those things. So abortion has been performed on Black babies for a long time. What's that? Red Cross, Red Shield, or whatever. They've been pushing these things for a while now. So why is it now so important? Is the question that I have when it comes to abortion. But yeah, that's my take on that topic. Oh, and sorry, if a woman has the right to abort and not abort a baby, I think a man should definitely have the right to abort or not abort a baby too. And when in that case, I mean his responsibilities.
Okay. I mean, I think I was talking to David last year about this, when they struck down Roe versus Wade or whatever. And we was talking about like it's kind of like a conspiracy, but if you look at the growth, the birth rates of certain demographics in the U.S., there could be. I'm just throwing that out there. That could have something to do with it.
Oh, I agree.
Well,
I just talk too much.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I agree.
No, it's kind of ironic, and and this is going to sound very cynical, but some of the voices on the right, and we're all familiar with like the extreme right, because there was an article that came out basically titled "The Browning of America," and there's certainly people on the right wing that are terrified of this country ever one day not being majority white. Let's face it. And so it's kind of ironic in a way that the same voices, though, are the ones speaking out against abortion, because in a twisted way, you would think almost that they would not encourage, but certain demographics to have abortion, keep the country the way they want it. If that makes sense, So it's kind of ironic that some of the same people, it seems to me, that want very much to keep this a predominantly white country, want to restrict people's access to abortion. The very people that they don't want to populate, basically.
Well,
So
I think this country was never a white country to begin with. Before people came here, and definitely while slavery was around and post-slavery, places in the South, blacks outnumbered the whites 9-1, and all through those years, decades, nobody had a problem with abortion. But now we have a problem, and I definitely agree. And if you go to London, I have cousins out there, England, London. Blacks and mulattoes are really outnumbering. I know here the numbers are like the Latinos are really populating whatnot, and then it's the blacks and whatnot. Anyways, no, I should take a step back. That's a big topic. That's really a big topic. Yeah. It's really big topic.
I want to add in on all that too. I'm just bringing it back up all the time. Like the narrative, the more narrative. Like we were always co-mingled, always together. And so it's like now they're saying that they want to make it this and that. But really, historically, we were always all together at that point. That's the crazy part. So like you said, like Malala, like mixed. It was always mixed. Like even German people, we all had the same blood, and it's like we all come, like you said, we all come from the mother.
We all come from the motherland. Yeah, pretty much. Like it's all the same at the end of the day. Same skeleton. Looking different outside, got the same skeleton, same blood, same arteries and stuff.
It's like they had their history, and it's like they want to portray it a different way. But when we come to realize the real knowledge of it, it's like the narrative is always going to come back out and reveal itself. Like you can't hide the truth. Like Mother Nature exposes itself. Like we see what's going on with nature right now, like the storm on the west, storm on the east. It's like nature is going to expose, and when too many lies, and it's going to clean up the land, basically. And I feel like that's what's happening now, like cleansing of all the system, politics, financial systems. You see, they're trying to bring this automation on. They clean up the job. It's every aspect of like entertainment, politics, religion, law, sex. You even see like the gender thing that's bending down too. It's like a cleansing, a renewal, or change coming to everything right now, in every sector of life you can think of.
When I do my next live stream talking about religion, I'm gonna definitely mention this. This is very this still ties into what the next live stream will be about, because if you believe in the Bible and stuff like that, it talks about America being Babylon and stuff like that. Anyway, I don't know if that's what you was trying to get at, but with all of this stuff that we have going on with this country and stuff like that, I mean, it's the proof is in the pudding, So, but yeah, what were you about to say, Ron?
I wasn't gonna say anything. Just pretty much like he was hitting everything on like the head. Just kind of like what's it called? Just like the mixing. Like we've always been the same. Like we've always been kind of from the same person. Same. Well, not the same person. Same. We all originated from the same place. Just the same thing. I agree with that like a lot. And we forget about that too. Like we talk politics, but at the end of the day, everybody's like from the same. So it's like at the end of the day, we should really think about like we really should be thinking about the next 7 years and how weather is gonna look. But like we're all caught up on like the specifics and finance and everything. But we're like, listen, like if we don't switch the big systems, we're kind of gonna be. It's not gonna matter what if you're Democrat or Republican, like this is gonna be, you can't live anywhere in like 7 years. And 7 years too, people don't get that. 7 years, like that's how long we have. People are like, oh, like you can get elected in 10 years. We're not gonna be. That's 3 years after. It's like horrible to live and like past like a certain point. Like you can't, like you gotta realize it's like literally we're seeing it this year with all the crazy weather, you know. So we got to like move quickly and do a lot of changing towards systems. Well, I mean, we had to change a lot of systems that are like.
Are you talking about global warming, or are you talking about
I'm talking about just like the way, like our energy systems, and like just kind of like oil should be being kind of passed away. Like we should be moving as quickly as possible away from oil, as hard as that may be. But we have 7 years to do it.
And, you're talking about like going to electric cars?
No, not just that. Just like the entire, like it's not just electric cars. It's like the grids we have and everything, and just like our way to movement. Like we can't do the same thing and expect things to not get worse and worse each year as we go. You can disagree, but like proofs and just the science right now, we're seeing it. And
I don't disagree. I just think I just don't think we'll ever move away from it.
Yeah, I mean,
there's just so much money in it. There's so much money in it.
But I mean, there is a chance. I mean, 150 years ago, welding was the third largest industry. It was bringing in a lot of billions.
You said which industry?
Welding.
Welding.
Yeah.
I just went to the DC Museum.
Yeah, that's how America was built.
Nice.
Yeah, on welding.
Off the oil too. And to think about, like the largest oil reserve was in Oklahoma. That's why they had Black Wall Street. It came from that oil. And that's like unknown history too. So it's like they really came here for oil. And then that's why America has the petrol. That's bringing it back to the dollar now again. It's like the oil's here, and you're thinking it's somewhere else, but really, it's all here in the source. And that's why they have the dollar back in it.
It is the question of the day. It's like dirty money is like you can't necessarily get out of politics because it's been there since the beginning. Like it's historically been there always, oil and money. And so it's just constantly been able to feed into this like same system and pay people off. So it's like it's kind of like this big monster in the room that like they were just like, okay, so we have 7 years now. It's just like, nah, we mean it's a monster. We can't really take down the monster. It's impossible. It's just like, is it impossible? Have we tried? It's like, no, we can't try. It's gonna take too long. It's like, but what are we gonna do at the end of the day? That's what everybody's back and forth. You know, it's like, are we going to get it out, or are we gonna just move it at the end of the day? That's my big thing too. That's my big core. I got out of everything. I don't care how you feel about certain issues. Like, you can't argue about shit if after a certain point. Well, my bad for using that word, but you can't argue about anything if nothing changes. You can't have family, you can't have all these things. Like it's not going to get better. But I don't know. Like to the last point is like I feel the same way about you do, Buka, about like you don't like in your heart you're like it can't change, but at the same time like could a mass protest change it? Like a mass protesting, like everybody's saying like no, we're done doing this. Like it's going to be dirty. It's going to be like very dangerous to do that because we've seen like what happens when people protest about like those things. Like I don't know if you guys seen. I'm not trying to talk you guys head off too much, but like there was a Firefly documentary about like a festival. It was a music festival, and there was this one of the creators of the festival that it went horrible. It was a big scandal about like just horrible scamming rich people, but one of the people that scammed the oil executive, his entire car just blew up in the middle of the street. Like after he scammed the oil executive, just blew up, and then the media covered. They were just like, we don't know why. It's like clearly it was the reason why he's messing with oil executives. So it's like it's a dangerous topic to talk about, but it definitely needs to be talked about. How approaching that monster is going to just be a horrible thing, but inevitable, I think.
The reason I have my position is using an example from our past. With the civil rights movement, you had the bus boycott. Rosa Parks and whatnot. Prior to then, you have Black Wall Street and isn't it Oklahoma, Tulsa, and you had independent black taxi drivers and whatnot. And after we won the bus boycott and we can now sit in the diners, black business turned into nothing. So mass protest is nice, but then somehow I really do believe that herd of people or sheep, whatever, get redirected into something that's going to be profitable for either somebody in that mix or the people they're protesting against. Because I mean, we have Uber, we have Lyft, we have all these things, but the black money prior to then, because we had our own businesses, we couldn't go to diners, we couldn't ride the bus, so we had our own, but now we don't. So if we protest and do whatnot, is that going to get us a better result? And that's what I think about. So rather, I'd like to spend more time thinking about how I can change my situation with what I have at the moment. So that's why I think like that. But I, not to change the subject, if we go back to the abortion thing, the one thing I wanted to talk about, but it just slipped my mind, was abortion from an economic standpoint. And this is, I'm just gonna make a statement. If especially since women, right? If you come out of college, you have all this student debt. Are you gonna choose? I always say this. I chose student debt over child support. So same concept. So a girl that comes out of college, if we put a number,
we can't compare that, man. No, that's a bad example right there. We can't.
You'll see. I chose student debt over child support. If a girl comes out of college, she has student debt. Let's put a number on it. That's $600. If you put a number on like a baby, that's also $600. So that's $1,200. And then if you have a mortgage or rent up here is $1,500 easy, right? So that's 15 plus 12. That's over, how much? Do the math for me. That's like 3,000 something, right? 27. So how can she afford a baby? And I've seen numbers about people who make, the more you make, the higher the chance of you having an abortion. And you know, ladies today, single, dependent, they don't want somebody to partner with so that they can actually be able to afford a family. You know, so I think this is actually the government trying to protect us all in a way. I think they overturned it because they understood this socioeconomic stance, and they're actually trying to protect us, try to give the children, the future of America, a chance to even come out the womb.
So you said that because they can't afford it, they want people.
Yeah, I was gonna disagree.
So,
like, Ron,
the higher amount of money you make, the higher the chance that you have to have an abortion. Is the research I saw.
That doesn't even make sense. Like, if you're making more money, why would you need to get an abortion?
Right.
And that's when you
I feel like it would force poor people to get abortions, to not get abortions, and the rich people to get the abortions.
People from all economic and social do have abortions. However, it's higher when it comes to people who make more money.
I see what you're saying though, because if you making more money and you're in corporate America, you putting in more hours at that point.
If you add religion to it, who have the most babies? Catholics, right? Who are the Catholics? The Latinos, right? Who are also the Catholics? The Africans. Nigeria is set to have 750 million people by the time we all die. You know, well, when we're in the grave, they'll have about 750. All of West Africa in general will have 3 billion people according to their census projections. So where is America going to stand there? And so that's why I believe that Roe versus Wade, I believe is what it's called, is being overturned. People, and then when you have a baby, what happens? The government rewards you and gives you money to take care of that baby. So again, lower income people are more likely to have babies than people who make more money.
Does anybody know how much money they actually give? Because I don't know how much. Like, I have no idea how much.
Abortion for an abortion?
Well, for the kid, you say to keep the kid, right? Or to have a kid. They're giving money too, or is it to get rid of the kid?
No, they give them money to keep the kid.
How much?
You know? Child support month. I mean, you put a father on child support. That's what you have to do to even get those benefits and privileges. Is requirements. You can't have a man in the house.
Child support in Section 8.
Yeah,
Section 8
have a man. You have to be by yourself.
Yeah.
So that's like playing into the system at that point. That's the whole thing. It's like it's a choice. And like we just brought it back. You were just saying you don't want to depend on them for your black business and everything. That's a choice. Participate. And that's the whole civics thing. Like until people even understand civics, the conversations that we need to move forward with shouldn't even be had because you gotta understand private and public. You can't mix them. Like we keep mixing private affairs and public affairs. And like business, like commerce is in the private. And then if you can bring commerce in the public, by, all right, let's say like a marriage. So marriage is really private. Like if you say you want to marry somebody, like, oh yeah, let's get married. We can go get a notary and marriage deed, get this signed. Or then you can have just saying the word is bond. That's really what it is. It came from. My word is bond. We saying we married. We just go buy a little ring and we do it like that. That's private. But the public side getting the notary and deed and put it in the private domain. And that's for like tax benefits at that point. Like it's only taxes in the public. They don't have a certified private accountant. They only got a certified public accountant. So business is only in the public. But you know you have private corporations that function and operate the whole thing on the back end. So you got the back end like coding. If you code, you got the front end, you got the back end. That's like private and public. The public see the front end. They don't go see the code in the back end. And that's that whole concept. Like people understand that concept, you really don't even understand like the whole political realm what's going on. Because they tricking. That's why like people see Trump, oh, he need to show his taxes, he need to do this. He was a private businessman. Like it's all about the trust. Like if you don't have a trust or not to operate commerce, it's like you go trust, S corp, LLC, all tax shields. And you know that's what they do like the churches, and they bring religion into it because religion is a tax shield as well, and they get into the real estate.
You got the shell companies? No.
Yeah, that's the whole thing how I go with this. So it's like even bringing it back to the whole narrative of us, the money system too. So it's really, you don't have a choice. Like we were saying, oh yeah, 7 years, we need to find out if we want to keep using this money or not. They could just take the money away and be like, oh no, there's no money no more. Like I said, it's numbers on the screen. Like all your money is deposited into an account.
Speaking of
have paper money, you could say, oh, I got all this paper money. I take it to them. So we don't use that anymore. We got new paper money we just printed. Or we got online money. You can go ahead and throw that in the trash. And like, here, take out our digital coin. It really is you playing in that game. It's like it's no choice. It's like you participate in the monopoly, commerce.
Yeah. Did you guys see the what's it called? The Republicans I think they were trying to get funding for they were trying to take they're putting a what's it called on the docket of like what the leader, their main goal was to defund, not main goal was defund, but they were trying to take money out of the IRS.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And it's just like clearly it's like, why would you want to take money out of the IRS? It's like, oh gee, I wonder why. Who would people
they lost money with that crypto scam. That's what happened. So a lot of Congress people lost money during the crypto scam, and now
you mean
they like, y'all paying all these people stuff? Yeah, so they paying all these people to find out where this money went. Nah, don't pay them, just give us the money. That's what we're gonna pay them with. Like they had like 80K agents. So imagine the salary they getting. Like each agent is gonna get about what? At least 60, 70K. So you're like, shoot, 80K people? Come on, man. Cut those people. Let me get some of my money back.
It's disturbing the misinformation though, because I see, like I said, my family, and I see it. Some of the stuff, and when I have conversations with my mother, and like they have them thinking that these IRS agents are all armed and are going to come and start knocking on your door and taking your money. And it's so sinister because it's all to get them to vote a certain way, obviously. So, but the real agenda is, like you said, when you brought this up, Ron, that the real issue is they don't want people there to enforce the laws, obviously, so you can get away with tax evasion. But they manipulate their base by selling them all this fear, which is nothing new. They've been engaged, in this for a while. But yeah, it's kind of funny. It's sad. It's really not funny. It's sad. But the misinformation manipulation to help them, further their agenda. But literally, I saw these email and these things that she showed me that she had gotten, and it said that it was like, oh, these agents, they hired 80,000 agents. They're all going to be armed. It makes it seem and you actually read it, and it makes it seem like they're going to come literally knocking on your door and arrest you and all. It's just crazy. Anyway, but yeah, you can see why they want to do it, so, and it's not just people on the right. I mean, there are obviously high up people on the left too that want to get away with paying their taxes and find loopholes and all this stuff. So it's not strictly a right-wing thing, although they are the ones right now currently, trying to push the legislation forward, or block it rather. I'm sorry, the funding, so.
Yeah. All right. So we're a little over an hour, about hour and 10 minutes. Did you guys want to close, or did you want to continue with the discussion? Any closing thoughts or?
I'm cool with talking. It's just like for a little bit longer if everybody's cool with it. Like, if you have any more questions, I'm down for it too. Cause
yeah, I'm fine. I have nowhere to go. You know, I have no life.
Yeah, I mean, because I like how it's going. Like, I don't want to just end the conversation when it's like it's starting to, you know, percolate a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's
Jeff,
definitely
I want to ask you,
replay.
go ahead.
Second.
Go.
No, I was saying this is definitely going to be replay.
Okay. No, earlier, way back when you first started, you were talking about the federal government, and you were talking about people, you know, some of our backgrounds. And were you talking, because, you know, I used to work for FEMA, because then the thing with Puerto Rico came up?
Kind of, sort of, but it was more so
okay.
with the other occupation that you had told me about.
Oh, the male escort. No, I'm just kidding. I wish, man. No, but I just want to. Yeah, I just want to. No, I just want to come back to that because I didn't know. I felt bad.
I didn't know
like,
how much information you want to.
No, I'll say this. I only worked for them for a couple of years, but I definitely saw some serious. They don't have a great reputation, and a lot of it started. I mean, let's face it. A lot of us, I think, our point of reference with FEMA is Katrina and what a disaster that was. So that was when they even popped up on my radar. And I was young. Geez, I mean, you guys are probably younger than I am, but I was relatively young when Katrina happened. But anyway, they didn't have a great reputation post Katrina. So actually, when I started working for them and I went to orientation, I really expected. I was like, man, they're going to be on their game because they know. Like I thought this orientation would be smooth, but it wasn't, man. I did see a lot of dysfunction there, you know, and a lot of waste and people sitting, you know, like some of the people even worked in my department. Like they would sit at their computer all day and wouldn't do any, you know, much at all. You know, so I definitely saw, if that's what you're trying to provoke out of me, Jeff. So now you got me on live. Now my life is ruined. I'll definitely never be able to go back to FEMA. But no, but just but I want to be honest. That's another reason for me being involved in something like this is it doesn't help any of us get anywhere if we're all full of it.
That's good, man. That's really kudos to you for actually joining. I'm so out of it. Like I had to look up the FEMA because I was like FEMA. I was like Katrina. I was like, dude, so like with the stuff that happened, it's like the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Like that's like you're out helping people with like what's it called, National Guard people too sometimes. Or
they can be involved, but it's the Army Corps of Engineers. You work with them. There's some they're naturally, you know, there are a lot of different departments within FEMA. I was in what's called Environmental and Historic Preservation, which I do have a general interest in. You know. So that when a disaster happens, you know, you make sure that you're not dumping, you're trying to preserve sensitive habitat and species and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's what's called emergency protective measures. So if it's a life-saving endeavor, then you might have to dump something somewhere or potentially destroy something, unfortunately. So it's a really fine balance there. But anyway, again, I was only with them for a couple of years. I would have liked it to have been longer because and there were some, you know, obviously I met some good people and saw some people that worked hard, but I definitely saw some dysfunction. And it was interesting because part of their, when they come to town and they bring all these people, like FEMA just like a hive of people just hits the town wherever this happened. And by them doing that alone helps the local economy because all the hotel rooms, the rental, I mean, the thing I refer to it, and I think I told Jeff this in the past, is that I kind of referred to it as like there was almost like a rock star element to that job because they fly you, you get your rental car, you get a hotel room, you get a per diem every day for food.
Oh, they pay for all that stuff?
They pay for all that stuff. So minus the groupies waiting at my hotel door every day. You know, I was like I felt like a rock star. No, but it was kind of cool. And I tell young people, I didn't start working there until I was in my early 40s. I wish I had started, like, I say 25 would be good because I think around 25 you're mature enough to handle that kind of freedom and everything. But it was awesome. I mean, I got to travel. I was in California for 8 months, and I love Jeff. I told Jeff about that. He probably gets tired of hearing it, but I love California. I love the West Coast. And I was there for 8 months. Yeah, and I mean, it's the only thing is it is lonely though. You're living out of a hotel, you know, so you are. You have coworkers, but you're largely by yourself. But anyway, not to get off on that too much, but Jeff, I just want to bring that up, Jeff, because I thought that you're maybe trying to nudge me a little bit, like, hint, like you actually work for the federal government. So what was your experience like? So, and sadly, the fact that they even hired me is evidence of their dysfunction. I hate to have to say that, but no, I did okay. I did the best I could. It was a new department for me, a new field. I don't even have a background. I have a degree in art and design, photography. So
wow.
It was kind of weird that I was hired, honestly, in the first place, So, but anyway, sorry to ramble.
Nah, man, I'm just enjoying it. It's like I didn't know that much about FIBA.
No, don't encourage me. Don't encourage me, man. Because I'll have you talking about everything: football, soccer.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, may I ask, dude, how old are you? You said when you were 40.
Man, see, he had to go there. All right, so look, it's time to wrap up. It was great meeting all you guys. No, I'm 48. I'm 48 years
48.
old.
Oh boy, hey.
Yeah, old boy is right.
They said, I thought they said black don't crack, man, but you look real young, dude.
Oh,
I
man.
was like 22 or something.
Dude, all right, thumbs up. Thank you for that. I
are you
appreciate
married?
that. I am not married. If you know any women,
I see why you look so young. Let's see why you look so young.
No, but see, I have to be honest. The lighting in this room, because earlier when I coordinated with Jeff to try to get all this going, I'm using my phone here, and it wasn't working out initially. I was in the bathroom actually. It had really good lighting, but the lighting made me look terrible. So, and Jeff suggested the hat because my hair. I got to get my hair cut. So, but no, I appreciate you saying that. A lot of people say I could pass for my 30s maybe, which is very flattering. So,
Oh yeah.
So anyway, am I the oldest guy here?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Really? I mean, you all look younger than me. I figured,
We could all be your children, man. Yeah, I'm
dude.
7, so
You guys would like to have me as a dad, trust me. Be playtime all the time. But anyway, man. Anyway, I don't want to get off too far off track here, Jeff.
Yeah, it's no problem. It's no problem because I know a lot of lives. Sometimes you start off with the topic and then sometimes you'll digress a little bit, and sometimes it can just change to something totally different. So this is my first live, so it's okay to have fun and stuff like that. I mean, that's how my lives are going to be anyway. So it's not like it's very informal. In other words, so. But yeah, any other concerns or topics that y'all feel like talking about? Well, not topics, but like in relation to politics.
I got one comment was funny that recently there was the vote for the House Speaker, so Speaker of the House, and you had a lot of dysfunction because you had people who didn't want to vote for somebody who was for the January 6th stuff that happened and the whole like the rioting and everything. So it's like it's hilarious how like you can still have people in Congress or in the House that like supported that, vote for that, and this is not, you wouldn't just immediately kick him out or anything, but you wouldn't like, I guess there's no system to get rid of the people that would want to go against the very system that they said that they're in right now. Like it's kind of hard to like how would that even look or whatever? Like, do you guys think like they should be a separate system? Because I feel like there should be a separate like group.
I don't know about that. I think, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I think it should be like some limits, like to certain politicians, like their terms and stuff like that. Because like, of course, humans are just like how they are, you know, they can start off innocent and stuff, but when they get power, money,
they get old and bitter.
Yeah, right. I'm on my way.
Oh man.
You know, so people talk about, they talk about the corruption in other countries and stuff like that with the government and stuff, but our government too has corruption, and and it's not just a particular party, you know what I'm saying? It's on both sides.
Yes,
and everything in between. So I think that a good solution to that will be like maybe having, terms on like congressional seats and stuff like that, not being a life-term event or whatever. And I would say too, of course, you probably could argue that a lot of young people don't want to get involved with politics, but I'm thinking now, I mean, from what I see, I would say anecdotal evidence, there's a lot of people that's fired up and stuff. So like even lowering certain ages to participate in certain political arenas, I think that will be a solution.
I think we need lots
of you brought up the point before I forget again, like you brought it back full circle about politics down. Like young people are not even interested in politics at all, or religion. So it's like that kind of goes hand in hand. So that's really nothing we can do about it. We can't force it on them. We can't force politics or religion on anybody. It's like something they gravitate to, or like even like going to the smaller churches. No smaller churches really anymore. It's all mega churches, at least in the Maryland area. But like DC, like they ban up all the church property. Like tell them move out to Maryland. They give them grants for doing that. So
Really?
Like,
Wow.
yeah, it's a money. It's like every mega church in Maryland gets a grant to operate, and that's why.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
for sure. And that's why. And it's a stipulation. It's like you can't really give. You don't see them doing too many community events. It's like you can do a certain number of events. You can't be helping all these people out here doing stuff like that. But they get money, like you see with the helicopters. Like even some pastors coming out now exposing it. They saying like, yeah, this is what's going on. I apologize. Like I think like Creflo Dollar or
What
somebody.
about the guy in New York? He was charged with that guy in New York is in Brooklyn or
He
somewhere.
was a fraud, though. I mean, you can see the way he living. He lived flashy. Like he coming with
His church got
Louis
robbed.
Vuitton preaching. Like you see the money going at that point. Like there's no like if you that crazy, like the discernment is at an all time. And I say this too, people's discernment and like judgment of situations is at an all time low. Like they just look at it, and just look right over. It's like they just walk past it. And also to say too, is bringing the money back into it. How the dollar is more important than the Constitution. If you got money, like you said, you can pay for anything.
Wow.
You're
That's
preaching
a statement
yourself,
right
sir.
there, man. You need to make T-shirts. You need to absolutely make T-shirts to say that, man. I'll buy one.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because it's like you pay for anything. Like you get locked up, jammed up, or something. Like you just pay for it's a lien on your property,
Damn.
real estate. It's like if you get a lien on you and you got money, you can get out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really the thing too. It's a like you said, it's a tricky game, but at the
Side
end of
note,
the day,
side note, Jeffrey, I think that you should have a conversation about individualism versus collectivism, because a lot of times I have conversations with people about politics and about how we can actually do things. It eventually just evolves between individual interest versus a collective interest, and just kind of how people are like, no, like and the survival of the fittest kind of comes up always when I have this argument with people, and like people saying like, oh, it's whatever, like, you know, like as long as we make it, we're good. As long as I make it, I'm good. Like that's the only people like, and that's kind of a problem with politics, I guess, is just people saying like they're taking their own, and just corruption in general. Like that's just the basis of corruption, is just saying like it's my needs over everybody else's. I'm gonna do whatever it is. And so like I think that like if people again, if we move a lot of people, well, it's like if we can get through that dilemma of that like choice, you can kind of like get through to most people. But that's what most of the arguments is going to be about. It's just 1 versus 20.
well, this is the crazy part, Ron. It's built on the castle of sand because look, America is built on individualism. They go to school, tell you, be an individual. Then you come to politics and they tell you, pick these two. So it's like
there's no diversity of choice.
Yeah, I want you to be an individual. I want you to be yourself and do all of this. And then when you come over here,
it gets to that.
There's only these two options right here.
But
even for to come together for a community, individualism has to really get cut out. It has to be unity, like collective consciousness. That we gotta stop thinking. You can't even think.
Where's the money in that, Antonio?
Collective consciousness.
Wait, the people they say, "Oh, where's the money in that? How's that gonna affect my money?" When it comes to collectivism, it's like, "Oh, you want me to pay my taxes?" And that's the whole taxes things come.
It's 1% of people running the whole world.
Yeah.
What's collective? Bro, so they collectively, that 1% controlling the 80 billion people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the companies are just kind of different companies, and it's just like it's a whole it's like a whole tree with just 16 companies for the one company. It's like, have you seen that chart where it's like they take every brand from like just like grocery store brand, and they have like it's just like 3 brands just like diversified into 16 other ones, and they kind of just keep like diversifying, and it's like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's BlackRock, Vanguard.
Yeah, it's like every brand is like a branch off of other brands. Like
yeah.
And you think it's different, but no. When you look at like the what's called the giant vending machine, you're just like, oh, I have so many choices. It's like they're all the same brand, or 2 brands. It's just it's illusion of choice, I guess. In that sense, yeah, losing your choice. You think you're choosing one, but you're choosing from another. Well, I mean, it's different when it comes to taste and stuff, but same concept. But yeah, speaking the truth, man.
Yeah,
yep.
It's like monopolies and stuff. Like going back to like when I was making the discussion about oil and stuff like that. I mean, I look at like the way our transit system is in the U.S. Compared to like Europe, you know, like with the trains and stuff, the high speed rails and stuff like that, in the interstate system here.
I was about to talk about that, Jeffrey, man. Like, because the reason why we have the transit system, we don't have a very broad system, is because of lobbying from certain people, and when it comes to different parts, like they lobby more so for highways versus like interstate trainways and everything like that, which is like which would fundamentally change America and would make it a lot more it would give a lot of people more independence and give people more opportunities. It would give so many opportunities to people if they were able to go from one place to another place in like an hour, like a couple states, like over, you get there in an hour, and like very cheap, like metro fare or whatever. Like that would be insane. Like that could change black business too. We're talking about black business, but in the early part, like that, I think that would definitely positively influence black businesses. Maybe
that's like a better history transit too, Ron. And Paulus, you gotta go back and look at the book Redlining.
Yeah.
With
the banks.
Yeah.
So I mean, so they already did that. So they already handled that. They say, okay, move everybody over to the suburbs or put a wall up, cut off transportation. Everything we could think of, bro. They had 300, 4, 5,000 years to plot and strategize. It's like we can't come up with something overnight. Microwave, cook up plan. Like the people been planning. Like JP Morgan has a 500-year plan. He's been gone.
JP Morgan, a 500-year plan. So just like, the
500-year plan. He had a 500-year plan before he passed.
He had that Steve Jobs plan, but just for racism. he was just like, this is how things gonna work for the next 10 years.
So it's like now we coming up, like you said, they already put the plan in motion, got everybody like individual. They already against each other. Everybody got different views, and they may go to different classes.
What like I'm that exact thing you're saying. Like someone told me, someone was explaining how Atlanta, I think it was like the way that the highways is constructed is based off of like around black neighborhoods. It would actually like go around black neighborhoods or something like that. Or it was like the reason why there was traffic in Atlanta and it's really bad traffic is because of redlining or something like that, or some sort of like, and it's just like, that's insane. Now you have this, and then you have on the other side of the political spectrum and Republicans, you have people who say like, we don't want critical race theories. It's like, listen, we have literal landmarks that are a result of racism, and you can't agree that like it has an effect on like how the world works in America. Like it literally, like you have to have that conversation. And
that's the thing about the racist thing too. In America, we don't have a racist here. We got everybody American. Like you go somewhere else in the world, they say I'm from this country. I'm from like bro say I'm from Nigeria. We can say somebody's from Switzerland or something like that. Here we can say we're American. So at that point, we can't even say how we say we racist. We all American. At that point.
I mean, I don't think it changes the label though. I think being saying when you say you're American, you're saying you're part of a history that's been through so much just pain, but also like hope, but also at the same time just like racism. Like you're saying American, you're part of a very diverse sense of confusing ass history that's just muddled. Like it's but at the same time, like you are kind of representing like opportunity. Like you do have opportunity. You do have opportunity to do things, but it's still limited by those same systems. So, but like it's like a monkey's paw of just like of like success. Like it's just like you have the success you can get, but at the same time, like you can have the opportunity to also get messed up by the same system. So it's just like there's like when it comes to America, you do have a better opportunity than a lot of other places. Okay. So there's that. But you also have the opportunity to get destroyed by this racist system and get shot by police or whatever, or get like deported unfairly or whatever, or get like kind of like you get a chance to be in a dangerous part of it, or get shot in a school shooting or whatever, or bullshit. Like there's so much grief at the same time. There's so much opportunity. That's what's being American. It's being in a hilarious, ironic shitstorm and just dealing with it, and then saying that like I have a family though, and I have things I should be proud of, so I should be proud. But at the same time, like I think that the duality is what a lot of like people need to like come to and be able to explain and communicate. Like you can say you're proud of your things, but also not say it's tied to all the bad stuff in America. You don't have to say like, I'm proud of being American. I'm proud of my history. It's like, no, you don't have to be proud of the history to be proud of where you're at now. Like you weren't involved with those things. Your ancestors were, but you weren't involved with those things. So Republicans have this sense where they feel like they're shitting on their own history. But no, like you can put that in the past and move past it. You don't have to lie and say that like you're getting rid of American history when you're really not. You know, it's just kind of just like it's confusing, it's muddled, and that's just what it means to be in America. That's just it.
And the thing is too, Ron, just to leave off, this last thing I'm gonna say really. We've been on here a long time.
We have.
Like America only been around for about 279 years. So it's really like when it was indoctrinated, when they signed the treaties. So it's like really, and we saying that too. We saying we only been around for, we have not even 300 years. So it's like we, like you said, it's a baby. And when you coming over here to learn, and when you learn, you're gonna fall down, you gonna get bruises, scraped up.
There gonna be civil wars, you know. Like there's a lot of crazy stuff that happened in the United States that people died for no reason. So like, it's okay to say that like you're not your history, but you are proud of who you are and how you've been able to grow up in America. Like
and we won't find life without death. Like there's always gonna be war. It's never gonna be peace. It's never gonna be peace. Like,
hopefully.
Never.
Well, real quick, does critical race theory even exist? To me, it seems like it wasn't even a thing. It was just made up. It was invented by the right wing, so they have something to bitch about.
It's like critical thought, but they were just like, it's not critical thought. It's critical race theory. Like it's critical thought. You're critical thinking about how things are formed. How things are affected. That's all you're doing, and people just
which is the way things should be to stimulate your mind and get you thinking from different perspectives.
It's like the woke label, but just when it comes to educational, intellectual thought,
it's just unbelievable. Because and again, I am older than you guys, so I've been out of school for a while. But it did like when that first hit, and I was like, what are they like? According to who? Like who? Like where? Who? You know, it just seemed like it was something that was invented so you could bitch about it and complain. That's just my take on it. I was just curious.
It's not really. I don't think it was really called critical race theory until somebody coined the term recently. More recently.
Yeah,
but
it's not like a curriculum in school where we're gonna kids. Now we're gonna study critical race theory or some shit. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But of course, like you're in, like for instance, in law school or something like that, they will probably have a discussion like that. And talking about history, American history, and the issues that plagued us and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm thinking maybe someone just coined the term and then they just ran with it.
Yes,
it was literally just like, oh, we're gonna take U.S. history. Well, let's look a little bit more in close into slavery. It's just like, no. We don't want to look at the effects of slavery. We don't want to see where the money went. It's like, no.
Right.
It is going to go back to what Antonio was saying about money and everything. Like, it kind of just ties back into money. Like. And if you wanted to throw a conspiracy nut into it, this is my last thing I'm going to say before I go on another tangent. But I found out, I think a long time ago, I found out that Jeffrey Epstein actually owned textbooks, or he was like a big owner of like textbooks, like for schools. Like he put money into like textbooks for like schools or whatever, something like that. Or he owned a company that was a textbook for schools or something like that. Like, hopefully I'm wrong, and it's not how it is. But like, I think a lot of money and education kind of like fuels the same, like the bad things or whatever. Like I think, but when it comes to we got to watch what we teach people. We have to make sure we're telling the truth, like what these people think critical race theory is, and like we have to just look beyond the labels and everything and just kind of like actually analyze stuff. Because I think little kids are ready for that conversation. Like they're ready to answer. Well, they're ready to ask the questions about those things. They want to know how things were made in America truthfully and how things were affected. They don't want to just be blind and feel like it was fine. Like, no, kids are curious.
Actually called The Men That Made America. They show how it made America through like the tracks, Andrew Carnegie and all those guys, and how they really, it was backdoor deals going on. A lot of cruddy.
Is it The Men That Made America? I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah, look that up. Definitely show you all the big players that the JP Morgans and all the foundational players. But really, like Ron, you touching on a lot of the topics, like the critical race theory, to sum that up, all that is what I said too about every area of life. Until you control sex, religion, entertainment, law, politics, and I think it's two more. It's about two more. Unless you control every area of your life, you living in the critical race theory at that point. They're like, oh, it's a theory. Like anything theory, I don't even like to hear that word or use that word because it's like you really just guessworking. And you don't know, but they really do know because, like I just said, it's all those areas of your life. It's critical. Those are critical areas of your life, and if you don't know how they operate, they give you theories of how it's going to operate. Like, oh, say this, say that, and just leads you in confusion.
Just give you some random thing that you can fill in the blank for.
Yeah,
it's not really the real answer.
Talking point is just like a talking point to discuss. And yeah, they're talking about it, but they're like beating around the bush.
Yeah, and to be honest, it would kind of part of the reason for like that misinformation, I guess, is for like if they were educating the people, their own kids, they probably wouldn't be with their own political affiliation. So it's like if you keep the educational lower, it keeps them probably rooting for you. If they knew, like if they knew and they could educate themselves enough to know what type of things you're actually for or things you're actually affecting, they probably wouldn't like be in the same party as you or the group. I'm talking about the kids of like Republicans or whatever. Like
facts, and that comes back to the point that 50% of people in America have a reading level below, I think, 6th grade. And reading, when I mentioned that, it's about comprehending it. Like just because you can read doesn't mean you understand what you read. So it's like even somebody can read your whole paragraph on the paper and like, oh yeah, what does that just mean? Can you explain that to everybody? And like, I don't know, I just read it.
Pretty much.
So that's what's really coming back to. So like it's something to the discernment and just listen to all these points. It's like you really don't even understand it, just talking about it, spinning it around in a circle. Nobody even broke it down to the simplest point.
Pretty much. Yeah. Circle.
Well, you guys, I really appreciate you participating in this live stream right here. I mean, we could keep going on and on, but I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna cut it for this this time because it is approaching.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to Lamar's contract yet.
Man.
Yeah, but like you can't imagine how much I appreciate you guys participating in this live stream right here.
No problem,
I'm thinking maybe. Yeah, this is my first live stream too, so like I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a lot more views on the replay. But the next live stream is gonna be more advertised, and it's gonna be a little bit more controversial. And I'm gonna have up to 7 panelists on this. Well, if you all participate, it'll be a total of 7 people, not including myself.
Cool.
So yeah, so I'm looking forward to a nice intellectual conversation about religion. Whether you're religious or not, just give your input and stuff like that. So, any closing
thoughts? I wear devil horns?
Okay.
Can I wear like that?
Okay, that'll be nice.
I might try to find some, seriously.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
The load, lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, that'd definitely be funny. That'd be funny.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'll add a nice little touch to the
Genesis. Yep.
Yeah, so any closing remarks? Do you want to anyone wants to talk about the social medias, get their platform out there, or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I don't have that much. I'm not really on Instagram that much, but I'm on Instagram at the Melodrama. Mellow like with 2 L's and an O, and then W, the Melodrama, all lowercase. And I like post a little bit, but I don't post that much. But I mean, that's it, I guess.
Okay.
Instagram.
You can find me. You can find me on anywhere: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I am also opening up a YouTube channel at my name, Buka Anwar. And I post a lot, especially on Facebook. Post all sorts of history. I share anything I think is interesting. I mean, even like I just shared a video of, the glue trap and watching mouse get killed, all the way up to Afro history, Latin history, whatever. I did a review for Black Panther. Food, health, exercising. I do it all. Yeah, so feel free to follow. Feel free to continue this conversation with me anytime. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too, man.
Likewise.
All right.
Yeah, last Instagram.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead, David. Go ahead.
No. Go.
The Instagram tag with truths_beliefs. Just cryptocurrency, decentralized finance. If you want to learn about that, just hit me up. I post a lot of articles about that, like Buku said, health and wellness as well. And that's pretty much it. Hope everybody enjoyed what we talked about, and see y'all next time.
Yep.
Yeah, and I have zero social media presence. Surprise, surprise, the oldest guy in the room. But it's good. You guys are good influence. Maybe I should dip my toe in. You know what I'm saying? But no, just thanks for letting me be a part of it. It was great. It was good to meet you guys, and I definitely look forward to the next one, and hopefully some others after that.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
All right,
You
guys.
guys.
See you, man.
Take care.